Seattle, Washington, the Heck Edmondson Pavilion, where the Washington Huskies have won 805 games since it opened back in 1927. And today, it'll be a raucous Heck as it hosts a Pac-10 showdown. The Washington Huskies hosting the front-running UCLA Bruins, who are on a 5-game winning streak right now and sit atop the conference standings at 10-2. The Huskies can ill afford another slip because it is very precarious this time of year as they jockey for position in the NCAA tournament. Well, welcome, everybody. I'm Brent Musburger. Huge day for the Pac-10. This is the feature game on ABC. But then tonight, about 230 miles east of here in Spokane, Stanford makes an appearance against Gonzaga. So it is a chance for the Pac-10 today to impress all the voters across the country who are saying that this is a down year for the conference. You know, this city has such great memories for the UCLA Bruins, their last national championship right here in 1995. There's head coach Jim Herrick in the middle, the gentleman behind him, Lorenzo Romar, an assistant coach, and today, the head coach of the Huskies. And over to the right, a gentleman who spent 12 years with the Bruins. 5 as an assistant, 7 as the boss. He's at Mike's side with me today, Steve Lavin. Steve, pleasure to have you with me, my friend. What a great contrast we've got here between these two teams.
Well, Ben Howland now in his 3rd year as the head coach of UCLA, Brent, doing a terrific job, I think, in position to be Pac-10 Coach of the Year. He's brought that Big East bruising style of play to the West Coast. They punish you at both ends of the floor, very stingy defensively, methodical, deliberate, grind it out on offense. They are tough to beat, in position to win the Pac-10.
And Steve, who are the stars we should watch for today?
Well, I think when you look at UCLA, you start with Jordan Farmar. He is tremendous. He's the security blanket for Ben Howland, averaging over 5 assists a game. Late block situations, he will have the ball in his hands to take the shot or deliver the ball for key possessions. He is outstanding. And then Brandon Roy for the Washington Huskies, very underrated, one of the better wing players in all of America because of Adam Morrison, a little bit in the shadow up here in the Northwest, can stroke it from long range, 19 a game, had 25 against the USC Trojans. The Huskies want to get up and down, Brent. They play in the 80s. It's going to be a frenetic, fast-paced affair. They'll try to sweep the Bruins for the first time since 1987. Now, let's send you to the studio and John Saunders. John? Here at the Heck, UCLA and Washington. They met down at Poly Pavilion back in January, the 14th to be exact, and the Bruins had a big lead, and then Washington came storming back in the second half to win it 69-65. Now, missing that night was Cedric Bozeman. He did not play for the Bruins. Ryan Hollins only came in off the bench, so a different look to their starting lineup here tonight. As far as the Huskies are concerned, Mike Jensen has moved into the starting lineup a couple of games ago, and Jamal Williams now is the 6th man coming off the bench. That worked on Thursday night as the Huskies snapped a 3-game losing streak, so the coaching staff is sticking with that. There is the comparison. Steve Lavin referred to it. The Bruins want to play this game in the 60s. And the Huskies would prefer, Steve, that it gets up into the 80s, and maybe they'll settle for the 70s on this one, huh? Ben Howland, much more comfortable as a coach, controlling the offense, calling the plays from the bench, wanting the game to be played in the 60s at a grinder pace. Big East style of basketball brought out west to the Pac-10. Lorenzo Romar, full court pressure, wanting to play in the 80s.
Now here's Coach Howland. This is the fastest the Bruins have reached 20 wins since that championship season of 95. And they've lost already the first game. If Washington sweeps the season, it would give them a 3-game winning streak over the Bruins. You have to go all the way back to 1952 to find a 3-game Husky winning streak over the Bruins. But you cannot say enough about the job that Lorenzo Romar has done here in the Northwest after taking the job and leaving St. Louis. After that picture you saw on that Bruin coaching staff, he became the head coach at Pepperdine for 3 years, then St. Louis, and now here with the Huskies.
Brent, you make a point about both these coaches. Excellent tacticians, excellent recruiters,
two fine programs. We are looking at the future of the Pac-10 in terms of where the championships will be down the road for the next 10 years.
Farmar playing with those injured ankles out there defensively. Here's Roy, the leading scorer for the Huskies, number 3, handling the ball for the first time. That was a freshman, Brockman, stepping out, and now their freshman point guard, Dentman, gets it into the paint and can't do much with it there. So tough Bruin defense. Turnover on the first possession, Coach.
Well, they do such a nice job of moving their feet. Very solid, like a steel curtain defensively. Position defense. They don't reach. Quick early turnover here. Probably nerves. You have to remember, there's still sophomores out there. Farmar and Aflalo are still very young. A bright future.
This was shortly before the game got underway.
Well, Coach Romar, so well respected, an outstanding recruiter. Even the players on the opposing team give him love.
Jones, who had a big game, had stepped out and gave it up, and now Roy maneuvers for the shot, but he can't get it off. It's just tough, ferocious D. So the freshman Dentman misses their first shot, and traveling on the rebound by Hollins going down. He travels.
Hollins comes down with that ball. Brent needs to have a wider base, better balance. Lorenzo runs a motion offense. The Washington Huskies like to spread the floor. Ball movement, man movement, spacing, a lot of draw and kick. They will attack the three-point line, shooting 34% from long range this year.
Boy, it is difficult separating here for a good shot. They're stepping out. And an offensive rebound, Jones, but push-off is called underneath our officiating crew today. Bill Kennedy, Tony Padilla, and Michael Irving.
UCLA likes to walk the ball into their offense. A lot of screening down low. Jordan Farmar will control tempo. The ball is in his hands 70% of the game on offense for the Bruins.
He gets it back on the left wing. Roy, the defender. Back to Farmar, hoists the 3 ball. Off the Huskies' hands, Bruins basketball, and we are still scoreless. And Romar, and at the end you can see
Hollins very active. The senior has come on of late for the Bruins at both ends of the floor. 7-footer who runs and has some hops. Flush it home, big fella.
good inbounds play. And Ryan Hollins puts the Bruins ahead. That is the first assist in 2 games in the state of Washington for Farmar. He did not have an assist Thursday over at Pullman against Washington State. That's a game the Bruins scored only 50 points and still won it by 20.
Well, they turned the clock back to the 1930s on that ball game, Brent. There weren't many field goals, period. Tough to get an assist playing at that tempo. But what a defensive effort for the Bruins. Outstanding against a well-coached Dick Bennett team.
Alfred Aboya, like Luke Richard and Bob Ute, he's from Cameroon.
Yeah, the Prince from Cameroon wants to be a prince. And into politics as well, huh?
Luke Richard talked about that. And ball back out of bounds. Bruins lead it on an inbounds play. Washington has missed its first 3 attempts against this Bruin defense. It is suffocating. There's out of bounds over to UCLA.
UCLA does a nice job of jamming up cutters. It's a meat grinder in the basket area. When you cut through the paint, you will be bumped, similar to the line of scrimmage when you see a defensive back bump a wide receiver when he goes out for his pattern.
Boy, almost lost it. Here's Bozeman's 3. And it goes over to Washington.
Both these teams super intense. No easy looks at the basket. I think nerves and adrenaline in a big showdown like this have something to do with teams that struggle offensively early in a conference game. So well scouted, very few open looks.
The freshman point guard from Carbondale, Illinois. And Justin Dentman puts the Huskies on the board.
UCLA averaging 66 points a game on the season. I think for them to win here, Brent, they're going to have to get to at least 78, close to 80 points.
Catch, shoot, and an offensive rebound. Coming back with the beautiful hook is Aboya.
UCLA with some quick frontline players. Excellent footwork. See how quick they are in their rotations into double teams in the block. They can recover out of those double teams.
Officials are letting them play, Steve. I saw some jersey being grabbed out there, and no whistle. UCLA basketball, and again, they had an open man at the other end, and Bozeman did not see Hollins breaking free. Romar is very discouraged about this start. Bozeman nails the three.
Cedric Bozeman, one of the more improved players on this UCLA team. He struggled with injuries, came in as a point guard, more comfortable, Brent, playing at the wing position. UCLA, the legendary Lou Alcindor, later Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Look at the hook by Aboya, bringing back memories of Big Lou. Wow. I think this year UCLA capable of holding on for the Pac-10 title, winning the Pac-10 conference tournament. Brent, a run to the Elite Eight is reasonable for their fans to expect, but next year should be a preseason top four with everybody back, the two incoming players. I think a definite candidate to win the title next year.
And Williams, who had checked in off the bench, contributes with an offensive rebound and a putback. So that's what Romar wants from Williams, is off that bench, contribute immediately, which he does. Appleby is also out there. He's defending Bozeman. Lalo turns it over. Defense dominating. Low scoring. UCLA up by 3 as we take a break. A gorgeous day here in Seattle. You can see across Lake Washington just outside all the way to the mountains, and you perhaps have noticed that the coaches are wearing sneakers. And this, of course, is all part of the Coaches versus Cancer National Awareness Weekend. Last year, more than 300 coaches and staff members wore sneakers on the sidelines for the awareness weekend in the battle against that dreaded disease. So we thank all of the coaches across the country who are wearing those sneakers today.
Better traction on the sidelines as well. With the floor shines, it could be slippery.
As a matter of fact, you did have a floor shine moment up here. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But as I recall, and looking at the Steve Lavin stats, somewhat impressively, only 3 technical fouls as head coach of the Bruins, and 2 of them came right here in the Heck. Well, you're going to have to explain that to me.
Well, I tried John Wooden, 1 technical foul, and I think 35-plus years of coaching. He was a model, a mentor of mine, so you don't want to waste energy or emotion on something you can't control, which is the officials. But it did get away from me up here at Heck Edmondson a couple years back, and was given 2 technicals, only had 1 other technical during my run at UCLA.
They tell me that the scuff mark remained throughout the season as you kicked the floor in disgust upon leaving. Shame on you, Coach. And Roy nails the 3 here for the Huskies, and we're deadlocked at 7, Coach.
Well, here's that full court pressure. Washington off of made field goals can get into that pressure. You see Appleby pressuring the young Collison. Brandon Roy, an outstanding prospect, Brand, at 6'5", can see over the defense.
They tried to trap Collison and out of bounds. Hollins stepped out of bounds, and they have turned it over again.
Fans throughout the country don't get an opportunity to see. Look at the nice crossover, the balance, wrist pronation. Thread the nets, baby.
And Farmar right back as UCLA has turned it over for the 4th time here in the early going. The Huskies with 2 turnovers.
When you play at the pace that UCLA does, you cannot afford empty possessions. Each shot is magnified. Each possession is magnified because there are less possessions in the game.
Back in the hands of Roy, and why not? Attacks the paint. Tough shot. Tap back, no. Williams tried with Jones. to regain control. Jones had the ball, and he turns it over on another push-off underneath. And that's 2 quick ones on him. So he has 2 fouls. He was a key player down in Poly. He had 6 offensive rebounds, 12 total in 37 minutes in that game. Ben Howland telling us yesterday after the Bruin practice that Jones killed us off the glass.
Long and wiry, likes to knife to the basket for offensive boards, a slasher who scores well in the open court. Remember, though, Washington has 10 players who play double-figure minutes or more. They have great depth, which allows them to play with great energy.
And hustling defense over in that corner. There are the standings showing you the Bruins on a 5-game winning streak. The Huskies coming off that 3-game slide. Folks, there are some experts who think all 5 of those Pac-10 teams are going to make the final field for the NCAA tournament. Now, I know that goes against conventional wisdom. But Joe Lunardi, the bracketologist at ESPN.com, says all 5 are in as of now. And, of course, that's a work in progress. Joe updates to his bracket every Monday on ESPN.com. And it is certainly worth checking out this time of year. And Huskies are going to turn it over. And a foul out of frustration. Williams. So we talked about Joe Lunardi, and those of you who have heard us on ESPN know how much we respect him. He said all 5 will make it. SEC with 5 right now, ACC with 6, 7 in the Big Ten, 8 in the Big East. There are some teams, however, in both the Big Ten and the Pac-10 who better be careful. One of which happens to be Indiana and another Michigan, both losers today. Now, Holland's down low, fouled. He's on the free throw line here, Coach.
A nice pass by Michael Roll, Orange County product in Southern California. Good feed to Ryan Hollins.
So battling for the seeds, you can see at the moment, Joe thinks UCLA is at 3, Stanford at 12. Stanford has lost this week since it came out. Washington at 10, California at 9, and Arizona at 12.
Well, Brent, I believe 4 teams in the Pac-10, barring the collapse, are in. Stanford has some work to do. They can help themselves tonight with a win against Gonzaga. USC was in the mix, but a big blow, losing Gabriel Pruitt, one of their leading scorers. Tim Floyd, an outstanding job this year, but it is going to be difficult without Pruitt. 4 are a lock, with Stanford needing some work to do to be that 5th team out of the Pac-10.
And Pruitt is going to be out at least 3 weeks. He broke that bone here in his knee in practice early last week. And a pushing foul is called against the Huskies. Fans over there, they wanted traveling, and we've mentioned it, so here it is. Rivalry week presented by Cisco Systems tonight, 230 miles east of here in Spokane. A chance to Adam Morrison. If you haven't seen him, folks, check him out. He's a candidate. What a great steal by Roy on that inbound pass.
Telegraphed by Jordan Farmar. Telegraphed the pass. Good anticipation by Roy.
Jones with a long ball and pushing off again by the Huskies underneath.
Well, earlier in the game, that lob was successful for a Hollins dunk. Roy laying on that one, anticipating well.
Low-scoring game. I thought they'd hit about 146 right in that neighborhood here today, and we've only got 15 points up there with 12:50 to go in the first half. And now the offensive foul. So that's a turnover. Dentman back, and Roy will sit down for Washington.
Very physical game, a lot of bumping, a lot of chugging. As you mentioned, Brent, holding on to jerseys.
You know, this is the kind of game that Coach Howland and the Bruins want. They want it down and dirty like this. They want it low scoring. That plays right into their hands.
Well, they're comfortable. They're familiar with playing that way. And it's interesting. You look at their makeup from a physical standpoint. UCLA, very quick, very athletic. But Ben Howland likes to control the game from the sidelines with scripted set plays. You'll see the flashcards coming up. Works through Jordan Farmar. He'll get a string of stops, but you'll see Farmar get the ball and look back at the bench to Ben Howland to see what to run as opposed to pushing the ball in transition.
It was wide open and it wouldn't stay down. That foul on Boyan moments ago.
playing with a lot of confidence. Sweeping the boards, a presence defensively. Look at the double team here by the Huskies. Good ball movement to get it out of the trap to the backside by UCLA. Here's the late clock situations. Back to Farmer, the security blanket. He's the quarterback.
7 on that shot. Collison. Tap back to him. Attacks the paint. Right man, right spot.
Ryan Hollins everywhere. Good dish off the penetration. I like Collison. Tremendous ball pressure. Reminds me a little bit of Tyus Edney, Brent.
Tyus Edney, the point guard on that championship team here, but he was injured early on that night, and the man who stepped in for the Bruins, Cameron Dollar, standing across the way on Lorenzo Romar's staff. So we got all kinds of Bruin connections here, and this goes back over. There's Cameron on the sideline, and we will see more of Tyus Edney when we continue on ABC. Well, Tyus Edney was the UCLA point guard 1991 through 95, played with the Kings and the Celtics from 95 through 1998. And, of course, you folks, you remember him. And there he is in the NBA. Right now, he is over in Greece playing in the Euro League and averaging better than 11 points a game with 4.2 assists. The Bruins could use a little of his spark right here offensively, Coach.
The little man, Tyus Edney, patterned his game after Isaiah Thomas. Small in physical stature, but a big heart, lion-hearted player. Of course, everyone remembers the second round against Missouri in '95 when Edney went the length of the court for the buzzer beater. 4.3 seconds, went behind his back at full speed with the left hand, hits the shot, and of course UCLA marches on to the national title. Changed all of our lives, players, managers, coaches.
Steve, would someone like Edney be an asset to the United States Olympic team, having experienced how they play in Europe?
Oh, without a doubt. Also someone who accepts his role as a backup. I think someone like a Tyus Edney with international experience, or an Earl Watson who's played in the NBA, a former Bruin. Of course, I'm biased. Mike Krzyzewski has a pretty good idea of what it's going to take to win a gold medal. And Jim Boeheim, of course, on his staff, has a lot of experience with zone defenses, both how to implement a zone and attack a zone. But no doubt, Tyus Edney would be someone that would be a real asset to the Olympic team.
Looking at the shooting percentages here, dreadful. But we tend to say the defense has been very, very good. The Huskies have shot only 23% from the floor, and the Bruins 44%. We got a one-point game.
Well, Ben Howland has built programs. He's the architect with a blueprint at Northern Arizona in his third year, had an outstanding breakthrough NCAA tournament at Pitt, National Coach of the Year in his third season. And now at UCLA in his third year, in position both for National Coach and Pac-10 Coach of the Year honors, but he builds programs with defense.
And the Huskies have been attacking the Bruins at this end, too. Ball on the floor, and the travel is the call.
Well, an unusual amount of turnovers here early for the Bruins. But life on the road is tough in the Pac-10. Heck, Edmondson, a tough place to come in and play. A little too much dribbling there by Cedric Bozeman. You need to stay with the pattern, stay with the offense, not force.
Farmar back, and Collison sits again. So Farmar's been on the sideline twice as Howland searches for someone to orchestrate the offense. There is the turnover story, and it's ugly.
Don't want to open up a bakery on the road. Too many apple turnovers. You'll find yourself with an L.
Here's Williams, strong fella, turns baseline, just won't stay down.
Ryan Wright, another good-looking frontline prospect out of Canada.
Farmar on the attack draws the foul, and that'll be one way.
Jordan Farmar, a quarterback that has great vision, seeing the floor, strong on the drive, able to draw the foul, putting his body into the defender, not allowing him to extend for a shot block. Just a crafty player.
First foul on Roy.
I think Farmar's decision-making has improved as he's moved through this season in the second year of his career. Bright future.
Jamal Williams and Bobby Jones each have 2. for the Huskies. And Williams continues to play. So it's not automatic with Coach Romar that with 2 fouls in the first half you come out. He keeps Williams on the floor. He's giving Jones a break.
Every pass contested. Tremendous ball pressure by UCLA. Help in the covers. There's a stab at the ball by Farmer, able to strip it.
It has been a long time between field goals for these Huskies. They turn it over again. 15-13 was their last field goal, we were told by George Hill, who has come home to be our stats guy here today, and it's nice to have him at the head. 9:45 to go. Lalo. He was covered up. It's agonizing trying to get daylight for a shot here, Coach.
Well, both ends of the floor. Stifling defense, like watching the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears in the 1940s fight it out in the snow. Excellent effort defensively. Offensively, you need to put more touches on the ball, stay with your pattern, not get frustrated. Easier said than done. This tempo clearly favors UCLA. This is the tempo they've played at all year. Washington wants more possessions. They want to get out in transition and use their speed and athleticism.
Here's Roy dumping off to Williams. Beautiful play by Brandon Roy. And he gave it to number 24 for the field goal.
Well, silky smooth. We see the little Baryshnikov pirouette move and the dump off. Good presence of mind.
Tied at 11, and the foul on Brockman.
Here's a little dexterity in traffic. The dump off for the high percentage look. Drawing the defense, give it up, share the sugar.
Hollins and Roll both checked back in for the Bruins. Farmer attempting here at the line to put the Bruins back ahead and hit the front end. And a reminder that tomorrow on ABC we've got a regional NBA doubleheader, 12:30 Eastern. You'll see the Spurs Pacers, the Sixers Wizards, and then the showdown between Detroit and Miami. So that's your doubleheader tomorrow on ABC.
Collison back into the game, Brent, giving Farmer a blow. Farmer more effective, not playing as many minutes as he did last year. At 30 minutes a game this year, has fresh legs coming down the stretch when they need him most. It's good clock time substitution management by Ben Howland.
Williams finds Brockman, the open man. When he was doubled and even tripled, he passed it to the young Brockman.
Well, Ben Howland does not want triple teams on the post. To bring help in a rotation, a double team is one thing, and to rotate out of it, but not a triple team.
Spinning inside, the best offensive move of the day for Aaron Aflalo. Dentman comes right back, and he is covered up by Collison, who's getting major minutes in the first half. Another fine pass from Roy, but Williams can't hit the open J. And Aflalo trying to get into the court is fouled by Dentman. So we're going to take a break. Low scoring. That's where we are, folks. It's right. 7:50 to go. And we've had only 28 points scored here in Seattle. Well, Coach, we talk about low scoring. This is 15-13. How does low scoring compare with the national champions of the last decade?
Well, you know, it's interesting. UCLA right now at 66 a game, and it poses an interesting question. Here are the national champions who've all scored in the 70s, the 80s, even Duke with 90. Can you get to a Final Four, win a national championship scoring in the 60s? I think next year, when Josh Shipp returns to UCLA, they will be more productive offensively. This nucleus comes back, plus Shipp, plus outstanding recruiting, and now UCLA will have the ability to get into the 70s or the 80s in terms of scoring. That's why next year, I think UCLA will be built to make a run to cut down the nets. This year, Sweet 16, Final 8, realistic.
Very appropriate that Josh is wearing that red shirt because they will apply for just that. He was out practicing a bit yesterday, moving around, but he will not come back this season.
Well, Josh Shipp out of Fairfax High School, played for Harvey Catani in Los Angeles. Maybe the best prospect on the entire UCLA team.
His brother Joe played at California, right, Coach?
Another tough, rugged player. They have broad shoulders. The father played in the NFL. Great genes, great bloodlines. And don't underestimate Mrs. Shipp. She's a tough cookie as well.
We have to update a key story here is that Jamal Williams, who is out for the Huskies right now, he had picked up that third foul when we went to commercial break. He'd scored 6 points off the bench. Now Jones has 2 fouls. Brockman has 2 fouls. So that foul situation becoming a big story as far as the front line is concerned for Washington.
How about Alfred Aboya, Brent? 2 times in a row, both ends now diving on the floor. A frontline player with tremendous foot speed, not afraid to mix it up. Dive headlong after a loose ball.
So the possession arrow favoring the Bruins here. So they will take the ball out of bounds with 22 on the shot. There's Ty Willingham, the Huskies football coach, having just concluded his recruiting. Looks like he's got his game face on already, doesn't he? Huh?
Tremendous poise, very even keel, a good poker player, an excellent teacher. What great stops he's had. Stanford, Notre Dame, now Washington. Programs with great tradition and heritage. Him and Lorenzo Romar have a great relationship. There's a series of commercials that they've run together up here promoting Washington athletics. Had a lot of fun together.
Bozeman in low. Battle. Denton comes away for the Huskies.
With every offensive possession at both ends, the defense just draped on the offense.
Traveling. One of the things that UCLA has to like is that not every contact is bringing a foul. There have been several traveling calls here in this game, and I like to see that. I like the game a little bit more physical and not have the touch fouls called in that situation.
There's the extra pass.
Bozeman can't make him pay, though. Loose, there is Brockman picking it up for the Huskies, and they are indeed letting these fellas play. Ty Willingham's kind of game. Jones back at you. Flalo digs it out for the Bruins.
I thought for a moment we almost had a fast break. Had to do a double take. Here we go. Settle back into a grinder. 2 plotting teams today.
Put back and 1. And Hollins gets an Applebee's face. And Lorenzo Romar wants the tee. And look at Howland on the floor. Look at Howland down on the floor calling time.
What is he doing?
He's right out in the middle of the floor. And he is all over Hollins for his behavior.
Boy, is he fortunate.
He went right after Hollins. Came out. The crowd wants a technical call on the Bruin coach, who was out on the floor calling time to reprimand one of his players. Now Romar wants to know what's going on. Why wasn't he teed up when he came all the way across the floor?
I think he wanted to get in the mix, get on the floor like a rugby scrummer, get on the glass to help the Bruins.
He wanted to tie your record.
Bring your brass knuckles. He's looking for double T's.
Look at this.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Tee him up, tee him up.
Ryan Hollins, what a lift he has given UCLA, cleaning up the garbage on the weak side. Give Ryan Hollins credit. He was relegated to the bench. He kept his attitude in the right frame of mind, and he has really helped his team down the stretch.
Well, if you saw that replay, you saw what started it. Appleby inadvertently and underneath, and you'll watch him wrap Hollins up with one arm. And Howland is livid with Hollins, and that's why he went all the way out on the floor to call that timeout.
I'll tell you what, Ben Howland's like a Clint Eastwood. He's one of those make my days kind of guy. Got that grimace, the beady eyes, won't concede anything. That's what makes him a successful coach, and teams are a reflection of a coach's personality. That's why you see UCLA play with such toughness, tenacity. Of course, the crowd here at Heck Edmondson not happy the fact that he got the free visit to the Washington side of the floor in front of Romar's bench.
We have got some passion, folks. If that's the kind of athletic contest that you like to watch, you have come to the right address here this afternoon. UCLA trying to avoid a 3-game losing streak at the hands of the Huskies. That we have to go back to the 50s. Hollins misses the free throw to the delight of the dog pound here. Denton pulls it up and drains it.
UCLA has to stop the ball earlier in transition. Denton getting too deep, right to the elbow for a wide open look.
Nevada is the call from the Bruin bench. So watch this play, folks. It's Nevada. Over the top, Hollins was being held, turned it over. You talk about grabbing jerseys. That's the 11th Bruin turnover here.
No blood, no foul. No harm, no foul. Let them play.
Looks like we've got a 30 call now. Will they go to a full?
You know, what's fascinating, Brent, is you have to go back nearly 60 years, back to Caddy Works and Wilbur Johns, who coached in the 20s and the 30s and early 40s, to find a UCLA team that plays in a deliberate ball control style. Of course, Johnny Wooden for 27 years preferred the full court press, the up-tempo, fluid style of play, and all of John Wooden's predecessors until Ben Howland, who has taken over, brought that Big East slugfest, black and blue mentality to Westwood.
Howland also had something to say about why the Pac-10 was down. Some of the teams in our conference are playing low majors or mid majors on the road. In other words, folks, he doesn't want these teams like Stanford going to Missoula to play the Grizzlies of Montana. He wants the Grizz to come to Stanford's building. And there are the selected losses that we highlight. Stanford went through that bad period of losing to Irvine, Davis, and Montana.
Yep, Ben Howland, different ways to skin a cat, has a different philosophy. He likes to schedule the cupcakes, the cream puffs early to build confidence. As we see Roy draw the foul, just a simple quick hitter off the out of bounds from the timeout drawn up by Lorenzo Romar. Flalo picking up the foul. But he likes the cupcakes and the cream puffs early, build confidence, sprinkle in a game or two against a powerful program. Just a different way.
You know, Ben Howland knows his personality a heck of a lot better than we do. And it's interesting with Hollins, after the tongue lashing from the coach, Hollins went out and missed a free throw. Now commits a foul here at the other end. And Coach Howland will take him out and sit him.
I don't think he'll be out too long. He's a veteran player. He's had experience in the Pac-10 on the road. Bozeman and Hollins, really the two veterans. Now Rubin doesn't get much playing time. Mike Fay doesn't get much playing time. So the only upperclassmen that get big minutes are Hollins and Bozeman. You need that experience in late game situations on the road and in the postseason.
Ryan Wright is in.
Too much dribbling by Bozeman. Need to get a quick ball reversal. Be crisp offensively. Then late in the clock, after you've moved the ball some, there may be opportunities to put the ball on the deck, get into a crack or a seam, but too early in the possession to be massaging the ball.
A dozen Bruin turnovers, but still, this is UCLA pace under Coach Howland. Jones, and it was off a Bruin foot. I thought for a moment he dribbled it off himself, but apparently did not.
You know, Brent, traditionally the Pac-10 thought it was an up-and-down conference, a jump-shooting conference, more finesse-oriented. With Dick Bennett at Washington State, with Tim Floyd at USC, with Ben Howland at UCLA, the East Coast influence coming to the West Coast.
This foul is on Bozeman. Watch how they defend Brandon Roy here, Coach.
Well, we talk about the punishing style of both ends. That's body, like a defensive back, checking the wide receiver at the line of scrimmage over the course of the game, like a boxer, working the ribs before you go for the knockout late. UCLA continuing to try and wear down Brandon Roy, fatigue him.
And the Huskies with their first lead of the afternoon, 18-17, inside of 5 minutes. Physical game here in the Heck.
Joe Frazier would appreciate this game.
Would he?
Not Sugar Ray Leonard, but Joe Frazier would.
Another Bruin turnover.
Cedric Bozeman needs to jump to meet that pass. He tried to grab it with one hand, stab at it, as opposed to moving the feet to receive with two hands.
All right, next Saturday now, ABC's College Hoops coverage features outstanding regional action. North Carolina State, Virginia Tech, then Gonzaga against Loyola Marymount. So it's doubleheader next Saturday on ABC. Collins, as you predicted, is back up, and we'll check in when we have our next stoppage.
He's been one bright spot for UCLA offensively, cleaning up the boards, picking up the garbage.
Farmar struggling so far because he's playing with sprained ankles. Dentman nails the three.
And the dog pack is on fire. Great student section across from us. Good ball pressure. Look at Dentman get into the ball.
He's a young man from Carbondale, Illinois, who Romar recruited when he was the head coach at St. Louis. Jones yanks away the rebound. The Huskies with their best run of the game, Steve.
Well, one and done for UCLA. Ben Allen doesn't mind his point guards dribbling the ball. Seems excessive, but that's his style of play. Brandon Knight at Pittsburgh the same way. Puts the ball in one person's hands and lets it go to work.
He splits the D and it wouldn't stay down. Wright couldn't get a handle. Huskies have the ball back. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we will check in to Lorenzo Romar's background. He has come back to his alma mater. So Romar and Washington lead it, and Lorenzo played 2 years here under Hall of Fame coach Marv Harshman. Then he was drafted by Golden State back in 1980. He played 5 years in the NBA, 3+ with the Warriors and 1 with Milwaukee, and part of 85 with the Detroit Pistons. Scored 1,700 points in his NBA career. And then he went into coaching, and of course we've already talked about being an assistant under Jim Herrick, working alongside my friend here, Steve Lavin, then becoming the head coach at Pepperdine, St. Louis, and now out here with the Huskies, where he has done an outstanding job. He's 47 years old. He's in his 4th year. Last year, 29-6, won the Pac-10 tournament in Los Angeles, went to the NCAAs where he beat Montana and Pacific, and was knocked out by Louisville in the Sweet 16 in Albuquerque. So he has put the basketball show on the road here in Seattle.
Well, Coach Romar, an outstanding model and mentor for young people. He's in the right profession. If it wasn't coaching, it could have been ministry. Athletes in action. He was a player coach after his NBA career. How about at 34 years old, he dropped 45 points on the Fab Five in Ann Arbor in an exhibition game. Also plays a mean game of dominoes, and don't want to play him in horse or around the world. In horse, forget about it. His array of trick shots, he'd rival Paul Westphal or some of the old greats with the crafty trick shots.
Spoken like a true insider, Mr. Lavin. That was very interesting. You must have lost a couple of dollars to him playing horse down there in Pollard.
Also does great impersonations. He could be a stand-up comic, could be a minister, happens to be a coach where he impacts young people's lives.
Well, he's knocked out of bounds.
Also played under Al Attles. He's had outstanding mentors. From Al Attles, Marv Harshman has great respect for the elder statesmen in the game. He's been a USA basketball assistant coach. Wouldn't be surprised someday if we don't see him be a head coach in USA basketball for an Olympic team.
It is so ironic that Quinn Snyder turned down this job opportunity to come back to where he was raised up here in the Northwest, and that opened the door for Romar. That, of course, is very much on our mind today, because Quinn Snyder was forced out at Missouri. The papers would say resigned, but folks, that was a forced resignation. Make no mistake about that. Farmar hoists the three and pushing underneath against the Huskies. That foul is going to be on Mike Jensen. He's one of the seniors on this team, and we are here in Seattle on a gorgeous, gorgeous day. And coming up on the UBS halftime, Duke rolls at Maryland. They'll talk more about Quinn Snyder being out at Missouri. And Mike Davis did not coach from the sidelines today for the Hoosiers. He was out with the flu. They were beaten at home by Iowa and Steve Alford, and Coach Davis has been under enormous fire back in Bloomington in the Big Ten. So there are still going to be some coaching stories unfolding here.
Alfred Aboya with an awkward release on the shot, something he'll have to work on in the off-season. Tough to improve your free throw shooting in season. But in the offseason, work on the mechanics, the fundamentals. In late-game situations, big men get fouled. We've seen it with Hack-a-Shack. Opponents will take advantage of that if your big people don't make free throws.
Crossover Roy. Missed the pull-up, and that foul against UCLA.
Talk about breaking some ankles. The crossover. Low to the ground. Through the legs, down by the shoelaces. That's the key on the crossover dribble, that Tim Hardaway, where the defender can't get a hand on it because it's so low. That's excellent footwork, like watching a Fred Astaire. You don't just do that spontaneously on an impromptu. That's rehearsed and practiced through thousands of hours of repetition.
Aflalo just picked up number 3. So checking in, Michael Roll. Aflalo sits.
I like the fact that the Washington Huskies are demonstrating they can be successful in a slower tempo game. That bodes well for the NCAA tournament when you have to be able to play at different speeds. National championship teams, Brent, you know it better than anybody, have to be able to execute at high speeds and in a deliberate grinder like we're seeing today.
That's especially true in the early rounds, isn't it? When the air gets taken out by those higher seeds as Bozeman nails a 3. Just what the Bruins needed. Pulled back to within 4. That ends an 11-0 run by Washington.
Good rotation by Ryan Hollins. He has been everywhere today, omnipresent. Rotating over to take that charge. Right on the chest.
Jensen just drove right into it. And Jensen now with 3 fouls. So we do have some big foul problems which are going to break out in the second half, the way things are going.
That may favor Coach Romar's Huskies because they go 10 deep with double-figure minutes. More depth than UCLA. Partly because of injuries, partly because Ben Howland likes a shorter rotation.
He traveled.
Well, there's that over-dribbling again. They need to initiate the offense quicker. I know Coach Howland prefers the ball to be in Jordan Farmar's hands 70% of the time. He's comfortable with him having the ball in the hand, controlling tempo, but if they're struggling or laboring, he needs to give that ball up, initiate the offense sooner. Washington's doing a nice job, Brent, at double-teaming Farmer, and that's a big double team. They're very long, not a lot of open looks in that trap.
Here's the double team.
Well, here's the screen. The high hands, the quickness. Farmar looking to go the other way. Again, just too much dribbling. We've seen the Bruins dribble off their foot and off their legs a couple times today, leading to turnovers. You know what's interesting? Ryan Hollins was originally signed by Lorenzo Romar at St. Louis. And when Romar went to Washington, he got out of that scholarship, and we actually signed him at UCLA. Here's the turnovers. Unusual amount for UCLA. Again, those turnovers are magnified when you play a style like UCLA does because there's less possessions.
So with 1:35 remaining, we have had only 44 points scored in this game. You talk about an underclass.
This is like Italy and Germany in the World Cup. How about Koufax and Juan Marichal in a pitching duel? Got to find a way to still love it.
Yes, Brandon Burmeister from Mercer Island here nearby knocks down a 3.
Well, I thought UCLA would have to get to 70 or 80 to have a chance to win today. Does not look as though they're on pace to get those numbers.
Down by 7, Dentman, and there was a whistle as he came across the midcourt line. And let's take a look at young Burmeister's 3, son of a coach, I believe.
Well, the inside out, heads up, textbook form, elbow in, fingertip release, on balance. So important with shooters that you take off and land in the same spot on the floor. Not that there aren't times that you don't have to fade away because of the defense or lean in, but ideally, like a machine, repetition should be the same habits. Jerry West style, Havlicek on that shot by Burmeister. He took off and landed in the same spot. That increases your accuracy, your percentages.
Brandon played at Mercer for the fine coach over there, Ed Pepple. They won the league title when he was a sophomore and a junior. He also lettered in football and track and field. So Brandon Burmeister, outstanding athlete. Great drive by Farmar. That's his best offensive move in the game, Steve.
Excellent job by UCLA at getting the ball out of that double team and around the horn with the pass. The pass is quicker than the dribble. You can advance the ball, reverse the ball through the pass, and then the nice, prudent use of the dribble, effective use of the dribble by Farmer for the easy deuce.
Appleby continued to dribble before he got it into Roy's hands. Up over Farmar, rattled it out.
There's Mr. Hollins again clearing the boards. I like this look for UCLA. Collison, as a freshman, running the point. Move Farmer off the ball. He's been struggling. Bring him off some screens.
Collison lost it, cleaned up underneath, and the field goal by Cedric Bozeman before the horn.
Could be a momentum shift for the Bruins.
A 4-point difference. It's 28-24. John and Coach Brennan are coming up next from the studio right after this. Could decide this game at the free throw line as we wind down here. A very close game. Several players with 3 fouls, one with 4 in this contest. It's going to be a big storyline in this game. Swings inside.
Nice curl into the lane. A good screen on the perimeter.
Flower from the right baseline. And back is Boya.
I was just going to say, Brent, the other key factor coming down the stretch is free throws and rebounds, getting stickbacks and putbacks. Nice change of pace, the crossover. El Matador defense by Jordan Farmar. No help defensively by the Bruins as well. Good spacing offensively by Washington.
Illinois came in late attempting to recruit Denton, but he already had a relationship with Lorenzo Romar from his days with St. Louis. He went through a prep school because he did not qualify. So he said, no, I want to go play for Coach Romar out of in the Northwest, and that's why he left Carbondale.
There's that double team. Good job of Farmer getting out of the trap.
Again, Boya off the bench is contributing.
Knifing to the basket from 2 Washington defenders.
Jensen. And done.
The Prince averaging 9 rebounds a game. Reminds me a little bit of Larry Smith. Mr. Mean used to play for Golden State. Not overwhelming in terms of his size or strength, but has a knack for finding the rebounds.
Farmar just pushed off. He picks up another foul. Man. Well, when we come back, we'll have the story of Kayla Burt. A 1-point game here, and back on February 5th, Kayla Burt, who was a basketball player here at Washington, she was awarded the 2005 V Foundation Comeback Award, and what a comeback it was. Back on New Year's Eve 2002, she collapsed, suffering from a rare genetic heart condition. She was in a coma for 15 hours. A defibrillator was implanted in her chest. She returned to the basketball court, started 16 of the 29 games that she played in a year ago, and unfortunately last Monday she had to announce that her playing career was over. The defibrillator had shocked her heart due to arrhythmia and was not caused by a malfunction or damage to the device, but the doctors and everyone conferred that it was best. But Kayla Burt is she's just a great monument to courage, and what an award. She was presented by Nick Galvano out here. Brandon Roy on the floor, driving in. He's on the free throw line, Coach.
Well, in a game like this, rebounding, the ability to get yourself to the foul line, getting second shots is a way you can generate some points and find a way to get a win when your offense is not running smoothly or effectively. And neither of these teams in rhythm offensively, so boards and free throws so critical in late game situations.
And just to follow up on that Aboya story, 4 for 4 from the field with 8 points. Farmar watching. He's one of those with a foul problem right now.
Off the free throws, a little full court press, token full court press by the Huskies. Flalo is streaky. When he makes one, he can make them in bunches.
On the fadeaway.
Love his game, Brent. Quick, little road runner in his game. Solid defense, has the right attitude and approach. Very competitive young man. These are great minutes for Collison. Going to prepare him in a tough environment for the NCAA tournament.
Drains a three for the Huskies. 42-38.
Well, another player here with the floppy haircut. Something about the Northwest. Adam Morrison, Luke Jackson, Luke Rittenhauer, Ryan Appleby. Bringing back the Monkeys hairstyle. Knocking it down from long range. Patterned his game after Pistol Pete Maravich.
Just committed a personal foul, so you can take a closer look at that mound.
Signed with Billy Donovan at Florida. Not happy with his playing time. Transferred back out to the Northwest. Coming home to Lorenzo Romar.
There's the Bruins foul trouble. Hollins with the 4. Aflalo and Farmar. 3 apiece. Now the Huskies, Jensen, Williams, and Jones. 3 apiece. So just to follow up on that story of Steve about how important free throws are going to be.
Well, and the key for Washington is their Player of the Year candidate, Brandon Roy, is not in foul trouble.
Richard puts it on the deck. He's on the free throw line.
With UCLA's offense being so deliberate and everything going through Jordan Farmar, you don't get to see the Prince's skills. Let me tell you, at the next level and throughout his career at UCLA, he has an offensive game, an arsenal of weapons that you don't necessarily get to see. This year, role identification is run the floor, play defense, rebound, get putbacks. But he has the ability, as he did there, to put it on the deck and create.
From Cameroon, Luke Richard Mbamute. Farmar back on the floor playing with the 3 personals. He did not log, Luke Richard did not log major minutes in the first half. He picked up 2 quick fouls. And Ben wants him on the floor down the stretch, of course. Now we've got a 2-point game lead by the Huskies.
And I think the fact that Prince is only in his 3rd year of organized basketball, remarkable. Skills, his understanding of the game, his feel for the game. To recognize help and give it up, when to penetrate.
He tried to muscle a field goal, and foul is going to be called as he was backing up from a rebounding.
Boy, I didn't see that. I thought that was a textbook box out. That's the way you teach it in practice.
It's on a follow, and that's his 4th personal. There's a reminder about the NBA tomorrow.
Life on the road, Brent. Talk about foul trouble and the disparity of free throw attempts on the road versus home. Home cooking.
Well, the only thing I will say about officiating is if you let them play in the first few minutes, you should let them play the entire game.
You want
You've got to be
consistency
consistent
at both ends of the floor.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a period where the Pac-10 is going to have to adjust.
Take a look at this.
Aflalo did get him. I was looking at Aboya. Aboya had a textbook box out on Jensen. But clearly Aflalo with the forearm shiver to the base of the back. Mr. Jones.
In his first points of the afternoon, he too is saddled with foul problems. A 4-point Husky lead. 13 minutes to go. Every trip's important now.
Washington with a lot of bodies, Brett. Late games, they are fresh because they rotate 10 deep. See them extend their pressure defensively. That allows them to play in spurts, to go on runs that put opponents away.
Farmar. And it came out, but he battles back for it onto the floor. And a held ball is the signal, and they've got the possession arrow.
Boy, quick hands by Farmar to knock that ball loose, and then an impressive dive on the floor by Jensen. After having lost the ball, he gets it back with the jump ball tie-up.
He was trying to call timeout. I can read his lips also, and they didn't get it as the held ball was called, and now the officials are going over to the table, clearly reading Farmar's lips. He was attempting to call a timeout, and they're checking the time right now. And here comes Ryan Hollins, he with the 4 fouls. Checking the clock, I believe, is what they're doing over there on the far side. Now watch Farmar as he goes down on the deck. And I guess the feeling was that it had already been tied up, and Farmar then quickly nails a 3, pulls the Bruins back to within 1.
Farmar and Aflalo, both money players during their tenure at UCLA. The ability to make big shots under duress in late clock situations when their team needs a basket. They have the instinct, the feel for when to step up.
Jamal Williams in the paint off the front of the iron. Rebound Bruins.
Washington needs to get Brandon Roy back in the game. Do not want him sitting next to you as an assistant coach on the bench. Want him on the floor. Quick blow, get him back in.
Collison attacks, loses the handle. Tracked down by Hollins, and here's Farmar with a pull-up. And attacking the glass, knocked away from Hollins. Ball again on the floor, and the crowd applauding that superb effort as Hollins has picked up number 5.
Talk about scrapping and fighting, Brent. Both teams getting after it.
Ryan Hollins has just been whistled, and we'll be back after this message and awards from our ABC stations. A 1-point game in Seattle, but the Bruins must close it out without 7-footer Ryan Hollins. He dives over on the side in here. You'll see it momentarily, and his shoulder makes contact. Watch number 15. He'll go to the deck, and there is number 5 and out of the game right now. So the foul problems, Hollins out, Aflalo with 4, Farmar with 3. And on the other side, the Washington Huskies, they have not had anybody foul out of the game yet, but Jensen, Williams, Jones, and Brockman, 3 apiece.
Well, on Hollins' foul, Brent, in that situation, you can't fault his effort, but not a prudent or wise decision in terms of understanding situations. You're too valuable to your team when you've got 4 fouls. Back off, run the floor so you can stay in the game.
Mbabute and Alfred Boya. 2 Cameroons. Are you a Cameroon? Yes. I don't know. I don't think I ever deal with that before. Why isn't he back on the floor?
No idea, other than they may be trying to rest him, but with the long TV timeouts and before the timeout, the rest he received, need to get him back in the game.
Well, one of the things by having Williams out there, and he takes Roy out of the equation, apparently that chemistry was, that's why he changed his starting lineup. Roy is only 2 of 10 from the field, so Romar, I think, is going to let Williams become his number 1 option in this game right now. And there's Luke Richard underneath cleaning up, and here are the Bruins back to within 1.
Good screening down low, excellent execution out of the timeout. Ben Hallen, a good strategist and tactician.
This is Williams handling the ball. Spin. Back into the hands of Denton. Appleby regains control.
Another reason I want Roy back in the game is his defense on Farmar, not just his offense.
Well, there is Williams on a pull-up, and he's short into Collison's hands. Appleby with his hands full. He must take Farmar now, and just as you say that, Williams having missed, and Roy will check back into the game.
Here comes Superman.
And he will be right back on the floor. Williams is out.
Brent, this is what we're going to see here. Look at the good screen for Roy, and then Roy curling into the lane. The good pass for the wide open shot. That's excellent execution. That's why he has to be back in the game. Won't be surprised if they don't look at that alignment or set down the stretch here to get Roy to the foul line or a high percentage look.
So Roy's camped out in the left-hand side. Bozeman will defend him. Boyle looking to double if he has to. Buckland comes out high, turns it over. Here's Farmar. Roll, who just checked in, guns at three, not there. Out of bounds, and it's Bruin basketball.
Well, UCLA attacking the boards. Their foot speed, the quickness, and the length of their front line. So difficult to box out.
Howland did not want that shot from Roll. He just told him that during his stoppage in play.
You can't shoot the ball early in the clock unless you're Jordan Farmar or Aaron Aflalo.
Here he comes. Farmar short into the iron. Brockman rebounds. And the Huskies a 1-point lead. Bentley spins. Wow. Jones plays volleyball, and this will turn it over. It'll go to UCLA. They'll try again to regain the lead. Lorenzo Romar. And a reminder that 230 miles east of here, over in Spokane, the Stanford Cardinal tonight against the 6th-ranked team in the nation, Gonzaga. Gonzaga, one of those teams in a battle to wind up with a 1 seed. The favorites to cut the nets down in Indianapolis. Connecticut, Duke, Texas, and Villanova. Inside of Boya. And it won't stay down. Brockman yanks it off. The Bruins were that close to taking the lead. Farmar bumps Roy. That is a foul on Farmar.
Have to be careful as a basketball player to not mistake activity for achievement. One of John Wood's favorite phrases. Down here, I like the look. Cedric Bozeman down low on the block. It caroms out, but taking advantage of Bozeman's size, a sound idea. Now a frustration foul. 40 feet from the basket. Again, activity and achievement, the distinction between the two. You want to help your team with hustle, but not put an 80% free throw shooter at the foul line.
Bozeman leaves and follow with the 4 fouls back. Brandon Roy, 7 of 8 at the free throw line. 2 of 10 from the field. That rattles out into Aboya's hands. And the Bruins come down, trying to take the lead. Aflalo, remember, he's playing with 4 personal fouls.
I like this UCLA lineup. They tend to pass the ball, get ball reversal more, Brent. When Farmar's in, he dominates with the dribble, which is what Coach Howland instructs him to do. But I think this team plays a little more hot potato, more difficult to defend. They bring cutters off the screens more often. Collison doesn't dominate the ball, doesn't massage the ball with the dribble as much as Farmar does. Just different skill sets, different looks.
Roy picked up that person. Roll attacks, and the Bruins have the lead. 47-46. Here's Roy trying to get it back to the Huskies. And he does. Boya, and the foul is going to be called.
Wow, I thought he was too far under the basket, Brent. Maybe a no call.
And look at, they called the offensive foul on him. Watch this.
Voice.
That's his 3rd. Roy has picked up 2 quick ones now. We've still got just inside of 10 minutes to go, Steve, and the fouls are mounting.
Well, it is a slugfest. I thought on that play right there, he was set. But the question is, was Brandon Roy already in midair when he got set?
Take a look, Coach, and see what you think.
Boy, I think Roy was already off the ground in midair with the Prince coming under. Maybe a no call. Clean block up top.
February 23rd at 7:30 against the Stanford Cardinals. And on Saturday, February 26th, the Huskies will take on the California Bears. 5 o'clock, right here at Bank of America Arena. In more information,
Brent, we talked about Brandon Roy, underrated, one of the premier forwards in the country. Solid defense, shooting from long distance, the Barishnikov spin move and dump off for the easy deuce. Versatility, the curl move into the lane, eludes the defender and able to get an easier high percentage look. Knifing to the basket. There's the trap in the coffin corner.
Traveled. They forced the turnover.
Tough area to catch the ball against full court pressure. You have the sideline and the baseline acting as extra defenders. So it's the equivalent of having 4 defenders on you with that double team.
We'll put it back in Brandon Roy's hands here. Coming down on 9.5 minutes. UCLA up a point. Open is Roy. And he regains the lead. And a foul against UCLA on the play. Aboya.
Brent, we talked to John Wooden earlier today by telephone. He would be so proud of this UCLA high post cut, the little rub for the easy deuce. To take another look at that, John Wooden with a twinkle in his eye. Lorenzo Romars, obviously the respect he has, having worked at UCLA for John Wooden and his offense, and that's a little wrinkle out of the high post offense.
Coach sounded real good today.
At full strength. Gene Bartow and his son Tom were over at his condominium in Encino.
Watching the game, this is not a Wooden kind of game.
Boy, look at this nice.
Roy. So it'll be Denton. Now the Bruins with Collison. Runs it in. And one. So Darren Collison, a freshman.
One of the few open court opportunities for UCLA today, and he has the speed to push the ball off of a defensive stop in the open court, the scattered floor, to get the Bruins a high percentage look. Now a chance for the old-fashioned three.
Williams returns for Washington. And this time Roy stays right there with him. Jones also on the floor. 50-48.
Collison, a good-looking freshman on the road, and Heck Edmondson, very productive for Ben Howland off the bench today.
Jones lost the handle, gets it back. Here's Denton. Missing, battle in underneath, and a held ball is the call. They maintain possession.
Be surprised here, Brent, if down the stretch, Brandon Roy doesn't get a touch on every offensive possession. Doesn't have to shoot it, but get a touch and play through Brandon Roy. He draws help, he draws defense. That allows other Washington teammates to get open.
Out of bounds. Roy was out of bounds. UCLA basketball. 50-48. Bruins lead it by 2.
Let's go.
Tough pass, penetrating one way, throwing back across the green. This UCLA team executing very precisely, looking to screen for one another.
Timeout is called by Howland.
UCLA with 8:27 left to play in the contest. 30-second time.
Ben Howland not liking what he sees, wanted to call the timeout, get his team organized.
8:27 left here in our college basketball action, and a reminder that Wednesday night, an all-new Lost comes your way at 9 Eastern, 8 Central Time, and at times today the offenses have looked a little lost here in Seattle. We've got 98 points total been scored in this game with 8:27 to go, but the contest itself very much up in the air. The Bruins have won 5 in a row. Steve?
Well, Brent, we talked about the UCLA high post cut. Look at the solid screen at the high post, the cut, and the delivery for the high percentage finish. Farmar caught on that screen by Jones. Excellent execution. Little two-man game on our side of the floor.
Looks to me like a moving pick. But however, I don't want to.
Well, on occasion, you can get away with one of those when you're the home team.
I hear you. Bozeman back. Collison continues to handle the ball. Flalo up firing the three. Williams. back to Williams for the deuce, and the Huskies tied at 50.
Well, Brandon Roy gets a touch. Washington gets a high percentage look.
Collison at the free throw line for the lead. A Boya foul, traveling foul.
Good call.
He's on the free throw line. Now that is Jensen's 4th foul. So the sounds of the Heck. Deadlocked at 50 here in the Bank of America Arena, Seattle, Washington, on the campus of the University of Washington with Steve Lavin. I'm Brent Musburger. 19 turnovers by the Bruins in this game. It is possible that an injury is going to affect this game. We see the point guard for the Huskies limping toward the exit. He is going to the locker room. He's right there. There was some contact on the right foot. And this is moments ago, and just after this scene, when he grimaced in pain, he headed for the exit, and he is back in the training room. And Justin Dentman, 5 of 9 from the field, 3 of 4 from the line, played 30 minutes here. And there's your foul situation for the two teams. And now Boya, 8 points off the bench, 4 of 4 from the field. 8 rebounds, and he's missed all 3 of his free throws here today.
Late games, oftentimes you'll see players come up short because of fatigue, need to get more knee bend, more flex, and lift as a result.
The Huskies are 19 of 25 from the line. UCLA 8 of 16. So they have gained a considerable advantage at the free throw line in this game.
See that UCLA high post rub again by Roy.
3 not there. And the Bruins come down after the Aflalo rebound, his 9th of the game. Major contribution.
Freshmen, sophomores, 1 senior, and Cedric Bozeman on the floor. That is why the future of UCLA is so bright, Brent. Next year, I think the top 4 in the preseason a chance to cut down the nets.
5 on the shot. Farmar has his pocket pick. Jones coming in. Jones slams it home, and the Huskies lead it 52-51.
Excellent ball pressure and defense by the Huskies. Again, Bobby Jones with the length and the size advantage over Farmar. Huskies done a nice job of wearing down Jordan Farmar.
Luke Richard attacks. He'll be on the free throw line. Foul by Williams.
Look at the smothering, stifling defense. The hands extended like branches, which lead to the open court opportunity and send it home, Bobby Jones.
4th foul. Let me correct myself. That's a 4th steal by Bobby Jones. I was thinking we had so many fouls, but that was the 4th steal of the game for Jones. Williams did commit that personal foul, and that is his 4th foul.
Luke Richard, the Prince, again, opportunist in terms of putting the ball on the deck, finding a seam, creating a foul opportunity situation.
Well, we welcome those of you who've just joined us in a low-scoring, tough defensive battle. UCLA, the leader in the Pac-10, up a point on Washington here in Seattle. The Huskies in their home whites. And whistles becoming the major storyline. Already the Bruins have lost their starting center. They have 3 other players now with 4 fouls apiece. Aflalo, Farmar, and Boya, 4 apiece. Jensen and Williams, 4 apiece for the Huskies. Brandon Roy has been stopped from the field, but he has contributed at the free throw line for the Huskies here, and he deadlocks it again at 53. That's 8 of 11 from the line for Brandon Roy. 15 total points.
In the double bonus now, so critical. Brandon Roy gets touches. Again, doesn't have to force the action, but play through a Brandon Roy.
This is Farmar, the Bruin point guard, been slowed by ankle injuries. He's having trouble with some of the size that the Huskies have run at him here today. Cedric Bozeman cut off.
Good help defense by the Huskies.
Luke Richard flies in. Blocking foul is called on the Huskies. Crowd wanted the charge and didn't get it.
Very similar to the block charge call at the other end of the floor. Thought Brandon Roy may have been there a little bit late.
And that is his 4th personal foul. So now we have 6 players, 4 fouls apiece, and with 5:42, Steve, it can't help but be settled by the fouls and the free throws the rest of the way. Just too many players in serious foul trouble here.
The key here is giving yourself a chance to get to the foul line. No empty possessions. That means no quick shots, no turnovers, and you must capitalize when you do get to the foul line.
Have the second win for the Bruins and the second bid here to tie it.
I like the Prince's setup. Very old school. Looks like a George Mikan here. Gets low with the squat. Needs some fingertips on that.
Luke Richard Mbamute, better known as the Prince by Coach Lavin, and he has deadlocked it at 54. Roy maneuvers. He's doubled, and he is fouled. That's not where they want to put him. He's back on the free throw line if you're the Bruins right now, and that's going to be a foul on Wright.
Well, simple basketball, Brett. You put the ball in your best player's hands. You're in the double bonus. You get to shoot 2 free throws every time you draw a foul. When there's a double or triple team, kick the ball out. It's good coaching. As simple as it sounds, it's good coaching.
When you think back to recent games involving the Huskies, what a heartbreak they had against Stanford. When they were ahead by 3 points with 2 seconds to go, fouled Hernandez, who made all 3 of his free throws, and then Stanford pulled away in overtime. And that was in the midst of that 3-game losing streak as the Huskies suffered a setback. They broke out of it against USC Thursday night. They're trying to hold serve here at home now.
And Brett, the good news for the Huskies is they have 2 quality wins over top 20 teams. They beat Gonzaga at Gonzaga, UCLA at UCLA. A chance today to get their 3rd quality win. UCLA does not have a win over a top 20 team.
Michigan was in the top 20 for a while. They lost today. As Brandon Roy tracks down the miss. It's the Huskies up 2 with the basketball at the 5-minute mark. Williams didn't know it was coming. Quick hands. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw that pass.
Peripheral vision. Bill Bradley style. A sense of where you are on the floor.
Into Jones. Up over the top. On the miss. Outlet. Aflalo. Bounce pass. And 1. There is the best looking fast break of the day, and perhaps the first one for the Bruins. In fact, it is. It's their first fast break hoop of the game.
Well, threading the needle. Aaron Aflalo in transition. A tough pass to get through. Great hands by Alfred Aboya. And the finish on the reverse pastry. Little English off the glass.
And we have another player with 4 fouls. Appleby.
It's like an infirmary in here today. Lined up in the emergency room.
And UCLA eases ahead with the free throw. 57-56 now at the 4.5-minute mark.
Place to pick up your dribble along the baseline.
There's Roy. He gets it into Brockman's hands for the layup. Beautiful recognition. He was covered well in the paint.
Tremendous intelligence and poise in midair, the presence of mind to find the slashing John Brockman.
Now it's UCLA's turn.
A little Zone defense by the Huskies. Ben Howland wants to call a timeout, get his team set up for that zone offensive attack. Like the chess match.
Goes right to Aflalo, and that exhausts Howland's timeouts here. Just inside of 4 minutes. And we've had 5 ties, 3 lead changes, and let us go back to the Washington-Stanford this comeback by the Cardinal, January 29th. Great breakout pass. There's the foul by the freshman. Hernandez makes all 3 of the free throws, and then Stanford pulls away in overtime. Coach, what should the strategy have been in that game? Where did Washington break down on that?
Well, the fact that the freshman Justin Denman allowed Hernandez to get a step on him like a wide receiver. That was a precisely executed offensive play. We saw it in the NCAA tournament years ago when Valparaiso knocked down that shot. Homer Drew with a three-pointer against Mississippi in the NCAA tournament. So well executed. In this situation, it was the foul. Also, you don't want to foul in that situation. So Denman, 2 breakdowns. One in the backcourt when he allowed Hernandez to get the jump on him, to get that first step. And then secondly, to foul.
Let me ask you this question. With this time remaining and the Bruins out of timeouts, will that hurt them?
Oh, without a doubt. You want timeouts coming down the stretch to get your team organized, or against full court pressure. It allows you to call a timeout when you're about to have a 5-second violation on the inbounds or a 10-second violation trying to get the ball over half court. It also allows you to call a timeout if you want to set your defense in a late clock situation.
Bruins have 15 on the shot clock remaining. They trailed Washington by a point.
So they're trying to get the ball to the high post against that 2-3 zone.
Boy, broke free, and he'll be on the free throw line, and Jones, and I believe that's just 4 on him. There's so many fouls, we lose track of who's got 3 and 4 here.
And again, we have a timeout on the floor.
The sounds of a tough physical game. That's the sound of being fouled, folks.
John Saunders back in the studio. Quite a finish between Oklahoma State and Texas A&M in a tie game right here. AC Law will find Joseph Jones, who had 15 points, the only player in double figures for A&M. It's just the second time in 22 meetings that A&M has knocked off Oklahoma State, and a surprise in the Big Ten as Minnesota drops Michigan State. Brent.
Yeah, John, you never know what's going to happen in the Big Ten from day to day. Here, it's very much up in the air. 59-58, UCLA leads it. They are 13 of 22 from the free throw line, and Aboya is 6 of 6. So he will come up in that first half. The Bruins shot 10 free throws and missed 6 of them. And here in the second half, they've hit 9 of 12, with Aboya trying to make it 10 of 13. And he does just that. So 15 points for Aboya. A 2-point Bruin lead coming down on the 3.5-minute mark. Away from the ball on the inside. And it's against the Bruins. That's on Bozeman. So Cedric Bozeman with 3. And here is Brandon Roy, only 3 of 11 from the field, but 11 of 14 from that free throw line, make it now 12 of 15. The Huskies are 23 of 29 from the line.
We talked about it, Brent, during the broadcast. Free throws and taking care of the ball in late game situations can ill afford to have empty possessions.
Game is tied, 3:27 to go.
Aaron Aflalo, the best free throw shooter for UCLA at 83% on the season.
Luke Richard kicks it to him. And Aflalo attacks baseline. Move to a wide open Farmar. Can't nail the 3 ball. Huskies basketball. Dentman is back. injured foot, received treatment in the locker room, and he is back at point guard here for the Huskies. Backing down, Williams powers his way in for the Washington lead. Flello from the three, no. And there's Luke Richard in underneath. Strip. Williams contributes with the field goal and strips the ball at the other end with the Huskies up 2 and 2:15. Roy's spin move. We stick right with him, and here's Jones, steps out to the free throw line, and it's a 4-point lead at the 2-minute mark. No timeouts remaining for the Bruins, remember.
Washington back in their man-to-man defense.
Farmar gets the man in the air, and he's on the free throw line. So we welcome you who have just joined us for the final 141 of a very tough defensive struggle in the Pac-10. The conference leader UCLA, having won 5 in a row against the Washington Huskies, were trying to sweep the Bruins for the first time since '87 and make it a 3-game winning streak, their first since 1952, if they can hang on and win this game. But they have just lost Williams with his 5th foul. Already Hollins has fouled out for UCLA. 2 of the big men are gone, and 7 other players are out there with 4 fouls apiece. There is Hollins on the Bruin bench. Washington has opened a 4-point lead, and it was Williams who did it, scoring a field goal and then stripping the ball at the defensive end for the Huskies. Standings will tell you that story. The Huskies don't want to slip to 500 in this conference, hoping to get 5, almost certain to get at least 4, and Farmar makes the first free throw, Coach.
Washington has some outstanding free throw shooters on the floor. Brandon Roy is 77 on the year. Bobby Jones at 74%. Justin Detman at 83%. And Appleby at 77. Down the stretch here, Washington gives themselves a chance to win if they can put touches on the ball, keep the ball in their free throw shooters' hands, and get themselves to the double bonus 2 free throw situation.
Now, Lorenzo Romar had 3 timeouts left, and Ben Howland had exhausted his, and Washington will use one of them right now. 2 remaining. They have a 2-point lead and the ball at a minute and a half. This does allow the Bruin coaching staff to set a couple of things in motion here, Coach.
Well, Lorenzo Romar's done a nice job of alternating his defenses down the stretch here. That zone and man-to-man has thrown UCLA a little bit for a loop. So right now, UCLA's coaching staff has to prepare their team for both a zone offense and a man-to-man offense, depending upon what the Huskies come out with defensively. On this possession for Washington, Brent, they just need to be patient, no quick shots.
There's the numbers, and the Huskies snapped, remember that, but in their losing streak, those were the numbers. They won on Thursday night, beating USC.
Well, UCLA, they have played some tough teams, but they've come up empty. Losing to Memphis, West Virginia, Cal at home, Washington, now another potential tough loss here. When the selection committee looks at their body of work, in spite of being in first place in the Pac-10, there's going to be some questions about the fact they haven't been able to beat tougher teams. They beat Arizona twice, but again, this is a down year for Lute Olson. Maybe the toughest year he's had in over 20 seasons in the desert in Tucson.
All right, we break the huddles at 1:34.
I still think UCLA, if they can win the conference and win the Pac-10 conference tournament, can earn themselves a 3 seed. But they could also play themselves, if they stumble, into a 5 or 6 seed.
Detman, the freshman point guard. Farmar is on him. They attack Roy, and he calls a timeout. Is he shaking up over there? I think he's going over. Yes, he is. No question. Brandon Roy injured. Looks like he's holding his right wrist, Coach. I can't tell for sure over there.
Well, out of the timeout, Washington wanting to work through Brandon Roy at the high post. Looks as though he may have had his wrist, something on his hand, his forearm, holding his fingers kind of clenched as a fist. So sometimes get a finger in there. Maybe he's sprained a finger. They need him down the stretch. Only one timeout. That's a critical play left for the Huskies, and a goose egg on the UCLA side in terms of timeouts.
1-point afternoon. He has not shot well from the field today. He's has contributed at the free throw line.
But good things have happened when he's gotten touches, Brent, on the offensive end of the floor, finding teammates, getting to the foul line. With UCLA not having timeouts, wouldn't be surprised if Lorenzo Romar extends his defense. He tries for a 5-second or a 10-second violation against the Bruins.
22 seconds on the shot clock remaining here for the Huskies. Jones comes out high. Wanting to feed Roy in the post. They do.
Beautiful pass to Brockman, who flushes it for a 4-point lead. Great recognition by Brandon Roy.
And good things happen, Brent, when you play through your best player on the floor. That is solid coaching by the Husky staff. Coming out of that timeout. Back to the zone, the alternating defenses. A good call again by Lorenzo Romar.
Missed the driving layup. Huskies, with inside of a minute, they're going to have to foul somebody. The Bruins can't let them exhaust the time here. They stripped it. Farmar's got it, goes down. Volleyball, hit the man ahead. Luke Richard, goaltending, score it. Oh, my.
What a pace, baby.
Gave him a break here. Terrific defense.
Talk about a frenetic exchange. After a deliberate, slow, plodding game, the pace picks up. Just a stab at the ball. Farmar falling down, the presence to back the ball ahead. And the Prince. Clearly a goaltending call. Boy, both stars involved. I love the pace, the presence of mind to see the double team face that defense head on and give it up for the two-hand flush.
And then at the other end, Farmar missing the layup, but he doesn't get down. He keeps struggling, fighting, battling. Terrific hustle play. Now both teams have exhausted their timeouts here, and we come down to the last 33 seconds. And of course, a reminder that back in the East Coast, news is directly ahead of you, local and network, depending on where you're watching this game. Here it's the first place Pac-10 Bruins. They're on a 5-game winning streak, but they trail this one by 2, Coach.
Well, neither team with timeouts. Ben Halland an opportunity to switch all screens, extend into the passing lanes, and try for a 5-second count. That would be somewhat out of character because he prefers half-court defense, solid position defense. But he will have an opportunity, and he does. He chooses and elects to go with an extended defense. There's one safety with Aboya back protecting the basket area.
Shot clock has been turned off.
There's the trap and the double team in the corner. The ball over half court. Now they have to foul.
So they'll put Jones on the free throw line.
Bobby Jones, 74% on the season. Out of Compton, Dominguez High School, coached by Russell Otis.
Very good coaching by the Bruins staff. Do not put Roy on the free throw line if you don't have to.
Absolutely. Or Ryan Appleby.
Yeah, they passed up Appleby in the corner. Roy had the ball. They didn't foul either of them. As soon as Jones touched it. However, he is perfect today. He has hit all 4 and now make it 5 in a row. All coming here in the second half. The Huskies are up by 3. And this, the big one. 26.9. One possession game at the moment.
Well, this has turned out to be a very compelling game as we come down the stretch.
There's a 2-possession game. Bruins must hurry now. 26 seconds. Can't waste time. Blocking foul on the Huskies. Not what they want to do right there. They stopped the clock. Romar said, oh, my.
Farmar, like a hound dog, his nose to the ground, looking to make something happen. And you see the Husky staff, very fortuitous call for the Bruins. But things tend to balance themselves out over the course of the game.
Here he comes with 2. 6 of 8 from the line.
71% on the year, Brent, but a money player.
Now, Coach, with 20 seconds to go, Powell yelling out a voodoo foul in this situation. As soon as the Huskies get the ball. It's a 2-point game right now, and Collison is checking back in. Darren Collison checks back in.
Justin Dentman at 83%, the leader for the Huskies, but he is a freshman.
He's got it right now, and they're going to put him on the line, and they don't get the whistle. They don't get the whistle. They get it up the floor to Brockman. They've got to put somebody on the line. They go for the steal. Tap ahead. Here comes Collison. Drive it in. He's fouled. He is fouled. Heartbreak for the Huskies here. And the hustling Bruins give themselves another chance.
What an exchange. John Brockman not comfortable. Instead of coming to a jump stop with the ball and protecting it, you have the ball and the lead. Elects to throw an errant pass. Collison, opportunistic in transition.
A freshman on the line. A chance to tie it for UCLA. Now, 9.2 seconds remaining.
Well, Collison an 80%er, but remember, a freshman. Free throw box out. Watch the inside position under the backboards. This is critical. UCLA will run a stunt. We see Brockman right now exchange with Roy to get the appropriate matchup down low on the block.
Omar telling the Huskies to block out.
Gaining leverage, so critical on that low post.
Makes the second. So it's a 1-point game. Aflalo replaces Collison.
All-out denial, switching defense, turnaround by UCLA. Like defensive backs.
Burmeister replaces Brockman, so now they get a better ball handler on the floor.
Washington, Brent, needs to look over the top. UCLA is not going to give them a catch along the baseline or the short corner. Over the top,
10 seconds. Bounce pass to Denton, the freshman, and he'll be on the free throw line. Bozeman fouled in from behind.
An 83%er. A freshman step into the line. These are outstanding opportunities as you build for March, as you build for tournament play. You want your young players to get the opportunity in a hostile environment, in tough situations. And that prepares you for the postseason when you're in single elimination game format.
Brockman has checked in for the Huskies to give a little more muscle on that free throw line. 8.1 seconds remaining here. If you just joined us, you'll be checking in with your news back in the Eastern time zone. Those of you who are watching us right here, Cedric Bozeman has been the second Bruin to foul out of the game, having scored 8 points. Steve?
Interesting, Brent. With Bozeman fouling out, it's given both coaching staffs an opportunity to give direction, instructions to their team. See Ben Allen out on the floor taking advantage. He's got a quick first step today. We've seen him run down and play transition defense. We've seen him on the boards.
Now the freshman for Washington, Justin Dentman, stepping up to the free throw line. He's 3 of 4 today. The Huskies lead it by a point. 8.1 remaining. Now it's a 2-point lead.
Brent, if he makes this, we'll have a very similar situation to the Stanford game that the Huskies lost in overtime. No timeouts, but UCLA, because of Bozeman fouling out, had the opportunity to talk about their home run play.
Lorenzo reminding them not to foul regardless of what happens here.
Well, here's an opportunity in terms of application to learn from that heartbreaking loss.
It's a 3-point lead. Same situation. Farmar to the attack. 4 seconds. 3 seconds. Up firing, partially blocked. Washington's going to win it.
That's the size again, Brent. Brandon Roy at 6'5". The size advantage over Jordan Farmar extends, able to get that block shot.
Take a look now at Brandon Roy in on Farmar. There it is. Got a hand on it.
Well, size does matter in basketball. A big win for the Huskies as they try and creep back in to a big seed in the NCAA tournament.
Again, the final score, 70-67. UCLA's 5-game winning streak is over. ABC Sports Online at ESPN.com. Search ABC. Now, except on the West Coast, stay tuned for ABC World News tonight or your local news. From Seattle, I'm Brent Musburger saying so long for our entire ABC crew.